lecture on magnetic properties of materials. We have already talked about magnetic susceptibility as one of the parameters on basis of which we can identify diamagnetics, paramagnetics and ferromagnetics. Now in this lecture we will talk about Curie's law. We'll talk about ferromagnetism and we'll talk of hysteresis as a phenomenon in case of ferromagnetics. We have defined magnetic susceptibility of a substance as the ratio of intensity of magnetization. So it is intensity of magnetization to magnetizing force. And we have also talked about magnetic susceptibility as a quantity which can be either negative or positive or zero also. Now, in case of diamagnetic substances, the magnetic susceptibility is a small negative quantity. In case of paramagnetics, it is a positive quantity, but not very large. And in ferromagnetics, it is a positive quantity which is very, very large in magnitude. Now, coming to the concept of paramagnetism, we said that paramagnetism is basically a number of magnetic dipoles which are already existing in the substance before we bring in an external magnetic field. So if I take a sample of paramagnetic material, it will be like this, that these are magnetic dipoles. These magnetic dipoles are already present in the substance and are randomly oriented. अगर आपको याद हो, in case of the electrostatics, we have a polar dielectric, जैसे water. Water possesses, because of presence of oxygen, water has a permanent magnetic dipole moment associated with it. This is delta negative, this is delta positive, delta positive. So because of this permanent electric dipole moment, a water molecule is already polar without applying an external electric field. Same way, एक paramagnetic substance, think of aluminium, think of chromium. ये substance में क्या है? Because of unpaired electrons, there is already an this magnetic dipole moment which is present even if the applied magnetic field is zero. In the absence of magnetic field, they have a net magnetic dipole moment which is zero because the randomization cancels out their magnetic dipole moments. Now, when we bring in a magnetic field, suppose the magnetic field which is externally applied, so this is an external field. Now, external magnetic field is not equal to zero. There is an orientation of these magnetic dipoles, and orientation will be such कि जो इनके suppose यहाँ हमने external magnetic field को लगाया है, ये उसका north pole है और ये उसका south pole है, और इस magnetic field की वजह से जो magnetic lines pass हो रही है material के through, they try to orient these magnetic dipoles along their directions. तो आप देखेंगे कि इस sample का जो ये end है, this end of the sample, this one, this end will probably become a south pole, और जो इसका ये end है, this end will become the north pole, क्योंकि सारे के सारे जो ये magnetic dipoles हैं इस तरह से orient हो गए that there will be orientation in the direction of magnetic field. So this will become its south, this will become its north. तो आप देखोगे कि in a uniform or in a magnetic field, this substance will get attracted. But overall, this attraction is not very, very strong. ये एक weak या feeble attraction है, but it is attractive step like this कि एक magnetic field जो non uniform है, for example आपने एक bar magnet लिया, उसका जो north pole या south pole है, where there is high concentration of magnetic lines of force, it is a strong part of the field. तो दूर से अगर कोई पैरामैग्नेटिक सब्सटेंस है वो उसकी तरफ अट्रैक्ट होगी, डायमैग्नेटिक सब्सटेंस रिपेल होगी. Now this brings in another very important parameter, जिस parameter पर हम बात करेंगे, that parameter is temperature of the sample. तो अगर temperature हम change करते हैं, जब हम इस process की बात करते हैं, what role temperature would play? Temperature का role एक तरह से एक disruptive role है. Disruptive would mean कि जो ये external magnetic field build करने की कोशिश करता है, it tries to orient these magnetic dipoles along the magnetic lines of force of the external field. Temperature उसी को disrupt करने की कोशिश करता है. How? The temperature increases kinetic energy of these magnetic dipoles, which are otherwise oriented by the external field, or because of the increase in kinetic energy, there is again an agitation inside the sample, or that agitation will disorient the magnetic dipoles, and it is possible that with the increase of temperature there will be the lesser number of magnetic dipoles जो orient हो जाएंगे. और अगर आप इस presence में जब temperature आपने increase किया, if you take magnetic dipole per unit volume, जिसको हम intensity of magnetization कहते हैं, वो कम हो जाता है. Because of that decrease in intensity of magnetization, there is a decrease in magnetic susceptibility. So a rule which comes up, the rule says that in case of a paramagnetic substance, if we see magnetic susceptibility, it is inversely proportional to temperature. That way, अगर हम graphically इसको plot करें, as we go on increasing temperature, so this is temperature, as we go on increasing temperature, the magnetic susceptibility decreases. Cause is very clear. Because of rise in temperature, there will be increase in kinetic energy of the atoms or molecules जो sample को बनाते हैं, and that increase in kinetic energy will disorient them. It will not keep them aligned along the direction of external field, and therefore magnetization will decrease, and as the magnetization decreases, magnetic susceptibility will decrease. अब इसको अगर हम ऐसे भी plot करें, that if I take the reciprocal of magnetic susceptibility, so on this axis, vertical axis, मैं इसका reciprocal ले रहा हूँ magnetic susceptibility का, और यहाँ मैं temperature ले रहा हूँ, then this would be a straight line. In other words, अगर हम इस relation को arrange करें, that magnetic susceptibility into T, so this will give us a constant. That constant looks like this. So we have magnetic susceptibility is equal to C divided by T. Now this constant is Curie's constant, और ये जो equation है, this equation is called as Curie's law of paramagnetics. And this Curie's law was put forward by Pierre Curie, the person who contributed to radioactivity, along with his wife Marie Curie. He was a Nobel laureate, and this law was put forward by Pierre Curie in 1895. The other form of this equation can be written like this, कि अगर हम magnetic susceptibility को, जो magnetic susceptibility हम define करते हैं as M by H, M is magnetization and H is magnetizing force, तो इसको हम ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं, writing कि जो H है, it is proportional to B in case of paramagnetics. In case of paramagnetics, H is proportional to B. तो मैं इस equation को ऐसे भी लिख सकता हूँ, that if I replace chi M, that is magnetic susceptibility, if I replace it with something like M by H, so I have chi M equal to M by H, or we have M by H equal to C by T, और अगर आप चाहो तो since H is proportional to B, तो मैं इसको ऐसे भी कह सकता हूँ, this H I take here, or I write in place of this B, because this direct proportionality will be compensated by the constant here, and I have M equal to, so this will be equal to B divided by T into some constant C. And this way we can say कि जो magnetization है, it is dependent on two properties, or it is dependent on two properties. This magnetization is directly proportional to the strength of applied magnetic field. ये external magnetic field है, and it is inversely proportional to temperature. So this could be more formal way of expressing the Curie's law. Curie's law states that the intensity of magnetization or magnetization of a paramagnetic substance depends on the applied magnetic field. It is directly proportional to the applied magnetic field and it is inversely proportional to the temperature. This Curie's constant C is a substance specific constant. That means it is not a constant of nature. It will vary from substance to substance and therefore it does not have a universal value. इसकी कोई universal value नहीं है. ये हर substance के लिए change होता रहेगा. And that way we have taken up Curie's law. Then we understand why temperature should decrease magnetic susceptibility of a paramagnetic substance. And we have seen how graphically these two vary with respect to each other. Then we have seen the Curie's law equation, जिसको आप statement भी दे सकते हो. The statement will come from this side that the magnetization of a paramagnetic substance is directly proportional to the applied magnetic field and is inversely proportional to the temperature. We retain कि जो ये B by T ratio है, it should not be a very large. That means जो applied magnetic field है, it should not be very strong. Now let's see what happens in case of diamagnetic substances. Diamagnetic substances में जो property of diamagnetism है, that property of diamagnetism is inherently in the atomic structure of the substances. और उस atomic structure के लिहाज से जब हम एक diamagnetic substance के susceptibility की बात करते हैं, this graph is quite explanatory कि अगर ये एक diamagnetic substance है, so this is a diamagnetic substance, ये हमारे पास magnetic susceptibility है versus temperature. The magnetic susceptibility here is a negative value. That means it will be a negative constant. This is 0 or it is independent of temperature. So kindly remember that the dependence of magnetic susceptibility on temperature given by Curie's law, जो हमने Curie's law लिखा है, it is for paramagnetics. For diamagnetics, the magnetic susceptibility is independent of temperature of the substance and is negative. So this is 0, ये positive है, this is negative. It has a small negative value. अब इसको लेके we can go towards the property of magnetic susceptibility in case of ferromagnetics and what is ferromagnetism about. फिर हम ferromagnetics में एक खास property की बात करेंगे which is a non-linear relation between B and H, जहाँ से हमें एक BH loop या एक BH curve मिलेगी, and that phenomenon is the hysteresis in case of ferromagnetic materials. Ferromagnetism is again a very strong paramagnetism. एक तरह से अगर कहा जाए इसके जो ferromagnetic substances हैं इनके characteristics paramagnetics के साथ इस तरह से मिलते हैं that a ferromagnetic substance is strongly attracted towards the strong part of magnetic field. तो इसको categorize करते हैं as strong magnetism, whereas para and diamagnetism are supposed to be the weaker phenomena. Weak in the sense that force which comes up as far as the conditions of temperature around us are concerned, and the magnetic fields which we apply is much smaller than the ferromagnetic force. Now this ferromagnetism, it is seen in case of the substances. We have iron, we have nickel, we have cobalt, we have gadolinium, and there is dysprosium also. Now these substances are again the substances where the crystalline structure is such and the pairing of electrons is such that there is a good availability of unpaired electrons. What happens in these cases that as these unpaired electrons, they give a magnetic dipole moment to atoms, the atoms tend to make aligned structures like this within the substance. We could have some atoms aligned in a particular orientation and make a group. This group could contain any number of atoms from 10 raised power 10 to 10 raised power 16. And these atomic dipoles, which are now in the neighborhood, very close to each other and in a good number, they tend to interact with each other through a force which has quantum mechanical existence. We call it as an exchange coupling or an exchange force. So the important characteristic of ferromagnetics is exchange coupling. Because of exchange coupling, various domains, which are magnetic domains, which are actually very small magnets, they come together, form a group containing about 10 raised power 10 to 10 raised power 16 atoms, and could be somewhere a volume of about 10 raised power minus 6 to 10 raised power minus 12 meter cube. These are called as domains. So we have the existence of domains in case of ferromagnetic substance. तो ये जो आपको दिखाई दे रहा है, this could be a domain. This is another domain. इनके बीच में एक boundary है. So this is a boundary which separates these domains. Then there could be another domain which could be like this. So within this domain, the atoms are aligned in the same direction. But when we think of different domains in the substance, in a condition where no external magnetic field is applied, they are randomly oriented. As you see in this diagram, that these domains which are there in one group, so this is a group where all of them are aligned in the same direction. This is another group where all of them are aligned in the same direction. The magnetic dipoles or atoms are held by exchange coupling, which is a quantum mechanical phenomenon, and whose explanation will come on the basis of wave function, Schrodinger's equation, and the symmetry or asymmetry of the wave function, and their overlapping, which is probably not the scope here, and those domains will be aligned in the random way. अब आप देखें कि अगर एक substance है, when no magnetic field is applied, जब बाहर से कोई magnetic field हमने इस पर apply नहीं किया है, all these domains, they will cancel out each other's magnetic effect, and the net magnetic behavior will be zero. तो जब आप एक soft iron nail उठाते हैं हाथ में, वो soft iron nail अगर आप देखें उसमें कोई magnetism नहीं है, लेकिन अगर उसी nail को हम एक solenoid में कुछ time पर रखें या एक बार मैग्नेट की मदद से उसको मैग्नेटाइज करने की कोशिश करें, आफ्टर सम टाइम द सेम नेल विच वाज अदरवाइज a substance showing no magnetism will start attracting very small pins or small pieces of iron because it has now acquired magnetism or it has acquired ferromagnetism. How that happens now? अब वो प्रोसेस कैसे होती है कि the moment you apply an external magnetic field to these domains, तो ये जो red lines आप देख रहे हैं, these are the magnetic lines of force of the external magnetic field which we have applied. This magnetic lines, what they will do is they will try to do something like this. तो मैं एक geometry बनाता हूँ. Let's take this geometry. This geometry will help us for some good understanding of this phenomenon. इस geometry में मैं दिखा रहा हूँ कि this is a domain in which magnetic dipoles are oriented in this direction, and here is a domain where magnetic dipoles are oriented in this direction. Here is another domain where magnetic dipoles are oriented in this direction, and here is another domain where magnetic dipoles are oriented in opposite direction. So you will agree with me कि ये जो domains हैं, ये एक hypothetical structure है, but for understanding it is good. फिर बाद में हम इसी को real world की तरफ भी ले जा सकते हैं. तो जो ये है और ये है, they will cancel out each other. These two will cancel out each other, being oppositely directed, so that the net magnetism in absence of magnetic field will be zero. But let's bring an external magnetic field, and let me say that external magnetic field is this. तो ये जो ये arrow है, this red arrow, it indicates the external magnetic field which we have applied. So there are the magnetic lines of force now. जो हमने बाहर से अप्लाई किया मैग्नेटिक फील्ड, इस पर we have brought it like this. So this is B, the external magnetic field. What will be the impact of this external magnetic field? जो favorably oriented domain है, ये favorably oriented domain है along the direction of magnetic field, ये इसके size को बढ़ाना शुरू कर देगा. So it will expand its boundaries, और ये अपना फैलाव इस तरह से बढ़ाता रहेगा that it will expand its size at the cost of squeezing, making these regions shorter. So after applying a magnetic field, the situation will be probably like this, कि जो ये domain है which is favorably or suitably placed, it will increase in size. So it has increased in size. Others will be squeezed. जो ये और ये हैं, they will be shorter. जो ये है, it will be shorter. So that means ये जो domains हैं दूसरे वाले, other than this, they will be shorter in size, they will now occupy a smaller volume like this, whereas this one has increased in size. इसकी boundary तकरीबन तकरीबन फैल गई है काफ़ी ज़्यादा sample में. Or if we further go on magnetizing, another stage could reach. इसके बाद अगर ऐसे हुआ, फिर उसके बाद एक और stage ऐसे आ सकती है that when the whole sample is magnetized now, so we could return back to the previous kind of situation, जिसमें कुछ ऐसा भी हो सकता है that all these domains are now oriented along the direction of the external magnetic field. So see, they will become like this now. क्योंकि जो हमारा external magnetic field है, वो external magnetic field ये है जिसकी orientation कुछ इस तरह से है. It is applied in this manner. So they have oriented themselves in the direction of the external magnetic field. अब आप देखेंगे कि this substance is going to exhibit a very strong magnetic field. Later on, a term will come up, saturation. Saturation would mean कि जितने भी इसके domains अब हैं और गुंजाइश नहीं है magnetic field या magnetization बढ़ाने की, because all the domains which are present inside, they are already oriented now in the direction of magnetic field. तो ये खास maximum value पर जाके saturate हो जाएगा. That means उससे ज़्यादा इसकी magnetization या इसके जो अंदर magnetic field है वो बढ़ने की अब ताकत नहीं रखता है. That will be very important concept later on. अब ये जो process है, इस process को हम अब ferromagnetism कहेंगे. So what is ferromagnetism? Ferromagnetism is that property of a material where the material gets strongly attracted towards the strong part of a magnetic field. What is a domain? A domain is a group of magnetic dipoles which are already existing inside the magnetic material. They are not induced ones, and they will form small groups which would be held together by exchange couplings. And what is the initial state when there was no magnetic field? When there was no magnetic field, these domains which are randomly oriented will cancel out each other's impact and will probably make the net magnetism zero. What does the coming of net external magnetic field, outer magnetic field do? It tries to increase the size of certain domains, expand their boundaries which are favorably located, favorably oriented, at the cost of squeezing or decreasing the size of others. And what will be the end of this magnetization? The end of this magnetization will be that almost all the domains will be oriented in the same direction as that of external magnetic field, so that saturation happens, saturation is reached. Now we take up the effect of temperature on property of ferromagnetism in a material. Paramegretics के केस में हमने देखा कि as the temperature goes on increasing, the magnetic susceptibility goes on decreasing. और for paramegretics we have a relation जिसको हम Curie's law कहते हैं, which is expressed like this कि magnetic susceptibility is inversely proportional to the temperature. In case of ferromagnetic substances, there is a similar rule. We call it as Curie-Weiss law. So we have, this is Curie's law, Curie's law. So in case of the ferromagnetics, this is the situation. We have magnetic susceptibility divided by C equal to C divided by T minus Tc. What is this? This is Curie-Weiss law for ferromagnetism. So this is Curie-Weiss law. The temperature Tc is called as Curie point or Curie temperature of a ferromagnetic substance. It is characteristic of ferromagnetics. Now what happens at this temperature? As such, in case of ferromagnetics also, as we increase the temperature, the magnetic susceptibility goes on decreasing. But a certain stage comes that at that stage, the randomization of magnetic domains becomes so strong. The domains which are groups of magnetic dipoles inside the ferromagnetic substance, their randomization becomes so small that the walls or the boundaries become now irrelevant. So once that happens, a domain structure where we have ferromagnetic domains, that domain structure is abolished. And a ferromagnetic substance beyond that temperature, above that temperature, behaves like a paramagnetic substance. तो अगर हम एक से आयरन नेल को रखते हैं एक बार मैग्नेट के साथ, वो चिपका रहता है उसके साथ बिकॉज ऑफ फेरोमैग्नेटिज्म. लेकिन अगर एक हीटेड आयरन नेल आप ले जाओगे विच हैज बीन स्ट्रांगली हीटेड एंड इट हैज क्रॉस्ड द temperature called Curie point or Curie temperature, the ferromagnetism will not be seen any longer. So existence of ferromagnetism is also subject to the temperature. अगर Curie temperature से ज़्यादा हुआ, then as you go beyond Curie temperature, ferromagnetism is abolished and replaced by paramagnetism. लेकिन अगर आप Curie temperature के नीचे हैं, you are below the Curie temperature, then as you go on rising or as you go on raising the temperature, the ferromagnetism will decrease or intensity of magnetization in the ferromagnetic substance will decrease with rise of the temperature. So we will show graphically three situations in case of magnetic susceptibility in the materials which are magnetic. तो पहला केस अगर हम एक डायमैग्नेटिक सब्सटेंस लें, दिस इज द सिचुएशन. तो ये जो कर्व आप देख रहे हैं, इट्स अ स्ट्रेट लाइन विच इज ऑन द नेगेटिव साइड ऑफ मैग्नेटिक ससेप्टिबिलिटी. सो दिस इज नेगेटिव, दिस इज पॉजिटिव, इट इज बिलो एंड इट इज इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ द टेम्परेचर. क्यूरीज लॉ आप ऑलरेडी देख चुके हैं. सो हियर वुड बी क्यूरीज लॉ लाइक दिस. सो दिस इज मैग्नेटिक ससेप्टिबिलिटी इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल टू टेम्परेचर. लेकिन अगर हम एक फेरोमैग्नेटिक सब्सटेंस लें, द बिहेवियर विल बी ऑलमोस्ट लाइक दिस और एक खास पॉइंट पर ये इसके साथ अब फॉलो करेगा. जो ये पॉइंट आप देख रहे हैं, हियर इज अ टेम्परेचर, बियॉन्ड दिस पॉइंट, इस टेम्परेचर के बाद जिसको हमने अभी क्यूरी टेम्परेचर कहा या क्यूरी पॉइंट कहा, देयर इज द बिहेवियर, जो मैग्नेटिक बिहेवियर है, दैट इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक द पैरामैग्नेटिक्स. सो मैं इसको मार्क कर देता हूँ. दिस इज डायमैग्नेटिज्म. The black curve is exhibiting of paramagnetism. So this is paramagnetism. और जो red line आप देख रहे हैं, red curve आप देख रहे हैं, this is the ferromagnetism. जो ये point आप देख रहे हैं, where ferromagnetism then follows the same behavior as that of paramagnetism. This is Curie point or Curie temperature for a ferromagnetic substance. So this makes it clear that how magnetic susceptibility in a ferromagnetic case is almost similar behavior to the paramagnetics, but you see that magnetic susceptibility will be changing over from the ferromagnetic to paramagnetic behavior at Curie temperature or Curie point. We list some ferromagnetic substances. So these are ferromagnetic substances, and we give their Curie temperature. Suppose we have gadolinium, then we have nickel, then we have cobalt, and we have iron. So when we think of gadolinium, its temperature is 317 Kelvin. से अगर हम 273 इसमें से सब्ट्रैक्ट करें तो आपको डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड में मिलेगा. सो डोंट एक्सपेक्ट कि क्यूरी टेम्परेचर हमेशा एक बहुत ही हाई टेम्परेचर होना चाहिए, नॉट नेसेसरी. फॉर निकल इट इज 631 केल्विन. तो 631 केल्विन में से आप 273 सब्ट्रैक्ट करें, आपको डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड में टेम्परेचर मिलेगा. देन फॉर आयरन इट इज 1043 केल्विन. तो अगर इसमें से आप 273 सब्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे, it will be nearly 770 degree centigrade for iron. Then for cobalt it is 1394 Kelvin. That way अगर हम आयरन को हीट करते हैं above 1043 Kelvin, it will be not ferromagnetic anymore, it will become paramagnetic. Same is true for other substances, and as such Curie temperature will vary from substance to substance. A BH curve is actually a graph which we plot between the applied magnetic field of a substance and how the magnetization takes place in it. We take an alternate definition for magnetizing force which will be obtained like this. मान लेते हैं हमारे पास एक toroid है which has a current I passing through it I denote it by small I. Capital I हम कई बार intensity of magnetization के लिए use करते हैं. And this is a toroid where vacuum is being used as a medium. This is magnetic field. N is number of turns per unit length. So N is number of turns per unit length, जिसको हम turn ratio भी कहते हैं per unit length. और I is current. Now, the moment I write another expression, आपको याद होगा that we have B is magnetic field in presence of a material, it becomes mu naught into H plus M. What's mu B? Magnetic field present in presence of a material. अगर हम इसी toroid में एक iron ring as a core use करते हैं, then this will be the expression for magnetic field. Mu naught is magnetic susceptibility of vacuum. H is magnetizing force. M is called as intensity of magnetization or simply magnetization. Now, if I replace the medium again with vacuum, what will happen in vacuum? In vacuum, H B will be replaced by B0 and there is no magnetization in presence of vacuum. मैग्नेटाइजेशन वहाँ होगा जहाँ पर कोई एटम्स या मॉलिक्यूल्स प्रेजेंट हो, जैसे आयरन के अंदर एटम्स और मॉलिक्यूल्स प्रेजेंट हैं. मैग्नेटाइजेशन इज बिकॉज ऑफ देम. इन वैक्यूम देयर इज नो सच थिंग, तो m बिकम्स इक्वल टू 0. तो ये जो रिलेशन है, दिस बिकम्स b इज इक्वल टू म्यू 0 इनटू h. अब आप इसको और इसको कंपेयर कर लें. ये भी वैक्यूम की बात है, ये भी वैक्यूम की बात है. दिस इज हाउ वी एक्सप्रेस फॉर अ टोरॉइड दैट द magnetic field will be mu 0 into n into I. Here we have H. तो आप अगर इन दोनों इक्वेशंस को कंपेयर करते हो, you can write H equal to n into I. This becomes a definition for H. हमने पहले भी इसकी एक definition use की है. This one says that H is this is sometimes called as ampere turns per unit length. What is ampere turns? That this is the number of currents and I can express it like this. N by L. Now this small n, which is number of turns per unit length carrying current, तो आप देखोगे कि dimensionally अगर आप इसका unit निकालोगे, so this is a simple number, dimensionless. This is ampere per meter. So alternate way of expressing H is that it is actually the number of ampere turns per unit length. Now, in case of paramagnetics, what we see that these two are proportional to each other. But here, in case of ferromagnetic materials, there is a different behavior. तो मैं एक graphical curve की बात कर रहा हूँ. This graphical curve will be a graph in which we are plotting on one side B and on the other side we are plotting H. The moment we start from this point, इस point O को आप देखो कि H is equal to 0. तो आप ये मान लीजिए कि आपके पास एक टोरॉइड है, तो ये एक टोरॉइड है. इस टोरॉइड में आप करंट पास कर रहे हो. सो दिस इज टोरॉइड लाइक दिस. In this toroid, we have no material which is acting as the core as such. और ये जो Ni है, Ni will be number of turns per unit length of this toroid multiplied by current in each turn. So that is this. और यहाँ how much magnetic field is going to build inside this toroid, वो ये. Now we introduce a material inside it. जब वो material introduce होगा, उस material को हम magnetize करने की कोशिश करते हैं. As we go on increasing the value of H, which will definitely, कि अगर हम number of turns को same रखें, so let me make it as 5 ampere, then I make it as 10 ampere, then I make it as 15 ampere, then I make it as 20 ampere. So इस 20, 15 के proportional अगर हम n से multiply करते हैं, we get the value of H. तो H आप देखोगे is proportional to the current being passed through the toroid. On this side, we build up a magnetic field. This is in Tesla now. तो ये जो B होगा, this will be in Tesla. और जो H होगा, it will be in ampere per meter. We find कि जब हम यहाँ से start करते हैं, when there was no current passing through the toroid, assume कि जो मटेरियल है, ये मटेरियल अनमैग्नेटाइज्ड है. थोड़ी देर के बाद आपको ये देखना पड़ेगा कि इस मटेरियल की हिस्ट्री क्या थी. ये कहीं पहले से मैग्नेटाइज्ड तो नहीं था. सो इट इज नॉट मैग्नेटाइज्ड नाउ. वी हैव टू चेक इट्स हिस्ट्री कि कहीं पहले से ये अगर मैग्नेटाइज हुआ है, देन दिस विल नॉट बी ट्रू. तो तो हम एज्यूम करते हैं कि मटेरियल इज अनमैग्नेटाइज्ड और हमने अब इसको मैग्नेटिक फील्ड में ला के इसका जो ये H की वैल्यू है, जो करंट हम पास करें वो हमने बढ़ा दी. सो वी एक्सपेरिमेंटली फाइंड दैट ए ग्राफ लाइक दिस कम्स अप. अब इस ग्राफ में क्या हो रहा है कि द मैग्नेटिक फील्ड इज बिल्डिंग अप इनसाइड proportional to the amount of increase of current you are passing or increase in number of turns per unit length which you are increasing, and finally it reaches a value where it does not now increase much. This point is saturation. That means जो ferromagnetic material में सारे के सारे domains हैं, they are now oriented in the direction of the applied magnetic field. इसके बाद magnetization अब बढ़ने वाली नहीं. Now what is the interesting property? The interesting property is कि अगर हम इसी करंट को वापस ले आए, so that means say this is the saturation current. इसको आप वापस ले आए आप 20 to 15, 15 to 10, 10 to 5, 5 to 0. We expect that this material should trace back the curve and come back to O, but it does not happen. This material, what it does, it traces back the curve and comes here. That means once we magnetize it, and if we reduce the magnetism, or if we reduce the magnetizing field to zero value, still some magnetism is left inside it, or this is called as its retentivity or reminiscence, or the residual magnetism. What it means that even if we have withdrawn the magnetic field, outer magnetic field, जो हमने इसको मैग्नेटाइज करने के लिए इस्तेमाल किया था, उसको हमने खत्म भी कर लिया, लेकिन कुछ मैग्नेटिज्म इसमें बाकी रह गया. एंड कैन यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई इट इज सो? इट इज बिकॉज कि कुछ डोमेन्स अभी उसी डायरेक्शन में है जिस डायरेक्शन में उन्होंने एक बार अपने आप को डाला था. इसकी वजह से वो वापस नहीं मुड़े हैं. दे हैव नॉट रिटर्न्ड बैक, दे हैव नॉट बीन randomized again. So this residual magnetism becomes a very important characteristic of the material. अब अगर हम ऐसा करें कि suppose this current was being flown in the toroid from a direction A towards B. अब current की direction reverse कर देते हैं. When you reverse the direction of current, earlier you were passing from A towards B, now you have reversed the current. So obviously जो magnetic domains forward direction में oriented हैं, अब उन्हीं को आपने एक reverse magnetic field डाल दिया and you are trying to drive them back. A curve of this type comes up now. So this material, it has the zero magnetism now. अब इस residual magnetism को kill करने के लिए you have to apply a reverse magnetic field with some reverse current. जैसे यहाँ अगर ये 25 है, से -25 एम्पियर, तो आपको वो करंट आपको ड्रॉ करना पड़ेगा, and that has withdrawn the magnetism. ये जो पॉइंट है यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक, this is what we call as the coercive force or coercivity of the material. So this coercivity will mean कि ये material zero magnetism वापस attain करने के लिए कितना reverse magnetic field मांगता है. This is the reverse magnetic field. Now from the point of symmetry, अगर हम इस curve को repeat करें, it will go like in this direction. It will happen like this now, ऐसे, like this. And from here, देखिए यहाँ फिर से अब इसके लिए saturation आ गया. जैसे यहाँ saturation आया था, now this is the saturation. ये इस पॉइंट के आगे, इस saturation पॉइंट के आगे, अगर हम फिर करंट को आप से ये मैग्नेटिक फील्ड अब आपने -25 लिया था, -20, -15, -10, the curve will come up like this. This typical graph, which is a closed curve, gives us what we call as the phenomenon of hysteresis in case of ferromagnetism, or in case of ferromagnetic substances, this is called as hysteresis. What is hysteresis? Hysteresis is that a material which took initially this path for magnetization did not follow the same path. ये किसी और रास्ते को follow करता है, ऐसे, ऐसे, फिर ऐसे, from here like this. Or this graph, whole graph is called as hysteresis loop, or BH loop for a ferromagnetic substance. Now, where does this loop give its importance? We take up that. We talk about now one very important characteristic of this curve. वो ये है कि अगर हम इस एरिया की बात करें, एरिया ऑफ BH loop of a substance, ये क्या रिप्रेजेंट करता है? दिस एरिया ऑफ द BH loop जहाँ पर ये एरिया इसने एनक्लोज किया, इट रिप्रेजेंट्स द वर्क डन पर यूनिट वॉल्यूम. So this is representative of work done per unit volume if we go around this loop. So that substance जिसका एक broad बड़ा BH loop हो, that means उसको magnetization और demagnetization में हमें काफ़ी work करना पड़ता है. अगर उसका एक यूनिट वॉल्यूम लें, उसको मैग्नेटाइज करना फिर डीमैग्नेटाइज करना रिक्वायर्स ए ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ वर्क. सो इन एप्लीकेशन जहाँ पर मैग्नेटिज्म और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी को हम कंबाइंड यूज़ करते हैं, लाइक वी हैव ट्रांसफार्मर कोर, वहाँ पर हम इन दोनों को यूज़ करते हैं. वी समटाइम्स मेक एन इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेट बाय पासिंग करंट थ्रू अ कॉइल जिसके बीच में हमने एक आयरन कोर रखा है. तो इन दोज केसेस electrical energy will be dissipated in the form of this energy which will be work done per unit volume. The second thing is कि एक तरफ आप इसको ख्याल में रखें that area of BH loop represents the dissipation of energy, how much energy, electrical energy is converted inside the material into magnetic work of magnetizing and demagnetizing. दूसरी तरफ material की coercivity ले लें. कोर्सिविटी जो है इट मीन्स कि एक मटेरियल को डीमैग्नेटाइज करने के लिए, उसे वापस अनमैग्नेटाइज स्टेट में लाने के लिए हमें कितना स्ट्रॉन्ग एक रिवर्स फील्ड लगाना पड़ेगा. एंड थर्ड इज रिटेंटिविटी. दैट मीन्स द मोमेंट वी मैग्नेटाइज मटेरियल, ये कितना मैग्नेटिज्म रिटेन करता है, और जितना ज़्यादा मैग्नेटिज्म रिटेन करेगा इन सम एप्लीकेशंस दैट विल बी ए प्रेफरेबल प्रोसेस. Now the application of this BH loop is quite wide. If you go around the magnetic memories which we use in most of the applications in nowadays, including computers, तो वहाँ पर ये hysteresis loop का इस्तेमाल ये होगा कि the moment I pass a forward current and I leave the current, that means forward current हमने pass किया, फिर रोक दिया, no current now. The material will remember the last state. That means जब हमने उसको मैग्नेटाइज करके छोड़ दिया, इट विल नॉट कम बैक टू द zero magnetic state, it will remember that. So it's a kind of way of using magnetic memory. The list of 3 materials which we have chosen for their properties, इनकी properties को जरा हम observe करें and then we can think about their application. The first material is silicon iron. It's a alloy in which nearly 97 to 96% iron is added 3 to 4% silicon. इसका जो retentivity है, which is measured in Tesla, retentivity is actually a magnetic field. So that will be about 0.8. Saturation will be again, so this is the saturation. So here, this is saturation. So on this axis, this is the saturation field. This is the retentivity. And then this is the coercivity. इसको आप ध्यान में रखें. Coercivity will be along H, that means it will be measured in ampere per meter. Saturation and retentivity is measured in Tesla. Tesla is the unit for B. So let's come to this. So its retentivity is 0.8, its saturation is 1.96, and its coercivity is 24. इसके against आप mu metal ले लें. 5% copper, 2% chromium, 77% nickel, 16% iron. Retentivity is slightly lesser, saturation is slightly lesser, but coercivity is again lesser. Then you talk about alnico, another very important alloy. 24% cobalt, 14% nickel, 8% aluminium, 3% copper, 51% iron. Its retentivity is 1.31, saturation is higher, 1.41, higher than this, but you see it has a huge coercivity. Since it has a huge coercivity, and if we go by the product B into H, here that does not become now important. We find it suitable for becoming a permanent magnet. क्योंकि एक बार आपने इसको मैग्नेटाइज किया, इसके मैग्नेटिज्म को रिमूव करने के लिए आप इस कोर्सिविटी की तरफ देखें, you will require a very huge amount of reverse magnetic field or reverse current जो इसको वापस अनमैग्नेटाइज कर देगा. But if we go for making of a transformer core, where we are not interested in much magnetization. ट्रांसफार्मर कोर में प्राइमरी में करंट चलता है, वो कोर को मैग्नेटाइज करता है. That magnetism is transferred to the secondary, or once that cycle is over, another cycle comes, positive half cycle, negative half cycle. Alternating current में use होता है transformer, not in case of DC. तो वहाँ पर जो process है, that process should not magnetize it permanently. क्योंकि अगर इसने इसको magnetize कर दिया, there will be huge magnetic loss inside the transformer core. So to evade that magnetic loss, we prefer this material क्योंकि देखें इसकी जो coercivity है वो इसके मुकाबले में बहुत कम है. So this becomes a material suitable for transformer core. This becomes a material suitable for permanent magnet. तो इसको हम soft iron के साथ भी कई बार compare करते हैं. If we take pure soft iron, तो soft iron is suitable for transformer core. Steel is this alloy like this. ये steel है. It is material which is suitable for permanent magnet. तो इनके अगर हम loops को trace करें, we will see that the loops will be varied. जैसे एक केस में ऐसा हो सकता है, the loop can be very very thin like this. जब आप ये thin loop लेते हैं, this is now B versus H, तो इसका एरिया बहुत कम है. That means the amount of work done per unit volume for magnetization and demagnetization will be small. इसके मुकाबले में अगर एक ऐसा मटेरियल है हमारे पास जिसका BH loop ये है, so this is a very wide area. That means the amount of work required for magnetizing and demagnetizing a unit volume is very very large. So preferably you will make a preference as per the application. तो ये एक illustrative आपको list मैंने दी है. But then if you don't remember these values, at least remember that coercivity of a material which is suitable for transformer core should be small, whereas coercivity of a material for the permanent magnet should be very large. Then we also talk about their BH loop area which they will probably take up. Now as far as this whole phenomenon of magnetism is concerned, as I said that the phenomenon of ferromagnetism is of important use, and this BH curve will be of utility again when we talk about the iron loss in case of a transformer core. That means if there is still some loss of energy inside transformer core which goes towards its magnetization and demagnetization. Thank you.